Welcome back, everyone. This is Trending Update USA, and I'm Steffan. Thank you so much for joining us today for a story that goes far beyond tennis, far beyond politics, and straight into the heart of identity, pressure, and what it truly means to speak your truth in modern America. Today, Coco Gauff, one of the brightest stars in global sports and one of the most influential young voices of her generation, is once again making headlines, not because of a forehand winner or a Grand Slam run, but because of something far more personal and powerful. Coco Gauff has weighed in on the Trump administration and the political climate in the United States, stating plainly and emotionally that it is hard being a black woman in this country. Those words, simple yet deeply loaded, have ignited widespread conversation, strong reactions, and an intense national dialogue that continues to ripple across sports, media, and social platforms. Coco Gauff is no stranger to pressure. From the moment she burst onto the international stage as a teenager, defeating Venus Williams at Wimbledon, the world placed enormous expectations on her shoulders. She was hailed as the future of American tennis, a role model, a champion in the making. But alongside the trophies and accolades came something heavier, something far more complex: the responsibility of navigating fame as a young black woman in a country still deeply divided along racial and political lines. In her latest remarks, Gauff didn't speak as an athlete chasing headlines. She spoke as a human being, reflecting on her lived experience during a time when political rhetoric, social unrest, and cultural polarization remain at historic highs. When Coco Gauff referenced the Trump administration, her words weren't framed as a partisan attack, but rather as a reflection on how policy, language, and leadership affect real lives, especially those of marginalized communities. She acknowledged that being successful does not shield her from discrimination, scrutiny, or fear. Despite her wealth, fame, and global admiration, she made it clear that she still walks into spaces where she feels judged, questioned, or unseen simply because of who she is. Her statement, "It is hard being a black woman in this country," resonated with millions who felt that it articulated a reality too often dismissed or minimized. The timing of Gauff's comments is significant. America continues to wrestle with the long-term effects of political division left behind by the Trump era. While supporters praise that administration for economic and nationalist policies, critics argue that it intensified racial tensions and emboldened discriminatory rhetoric. For young black Americans like Gauff, growing up during this period meant coming of age in a nation where protests, police brutality headlines, and culture wars became part of daily life. Her comments reflect not just a personal struggle, but a generational one, where young voices are increasingly refusing to stay silent. Coco Gauff has never shied away from activism. As a teenager, she spoke publicly at protests following the killing of George Floyd, urging Americans to vote and hold leaders accountable. At the time, some praised her courage, while others criticized her for bringing politics into sports. But Gauff has consistently pushed back against the idea that athletes should remain silent, arguing that sports do not exist in a vacuum. Her latest remarks continue that same philosophy. She believes that having a platform comes with responsibility, and silence, in her view, can be just as political as speaking out. The reaction to Gauff's comments has been intense and divided. Supporters applauded her honesty, calling her brave for speaking her truth in a climate where black women are often criticized simply for expressing discomfort or dissent. Many pointed out that her experience mirrors that of countless others who feel unseen and unheard despite contributing immensely to society. On social media, fans shared their own stories, using Gauff's words as a catalyst for broader conversations about race, gender, and belonging in America. On the other side, critics accused Gauff of being ungrateful or overly political, arguing that her success proves that America offers equal opportunity. This response, however, highlights exactly the issue Gauff was addressing. Success does not erase systemic inequality, nor does it eliminate the emotional toll of navigating a society where one's identity can be politicized. Gauff did not claim that America offers no opportunity. She emphasized that opportunity often comes with added burdens for black women, burdens that others may never have to carry. What makes Coco Gauff's voice particularly powerful is her age. At just over 20 years old, she represents a generation that grew up online, informed, and unafraid to challenge authority. Unlike previous generations of athletes who were pressured into neutrality, Gauff belongs to a wave of sports figures who see activism as inseparable from identity. She understands that silence can be interpreted as complicity, and she has chosen, time and again, to speak even when it invites backlash. Her remarks also spark a larger discussion about how Black women are treated in professional sports and public life. Historically, Black female athletes have faced harsher criticism, stricter standards, and more intense scrutiny than their peers. From Serena Williams to Simone Biles, the pattern is clear. Excellence is often met with skepticism, confidence with criticism, and vulnerability with dismissal. Gauff's statement fits within this broader narrative, reminding the world that progress remains incomplete. The Trump administration, whether intentionally or not, became a symbol for many of these tensions. Policies on immigration, voting rights, and law enforcement, combined with rhetoric that critics say lacks sensitivity, created an environment where many minorities felt targeted or dismissed. Gauff's comments reflect how that era still lingers in the national consciousness. For her, it's not about reliving the past, but about acknowledging how leadership shapes culture and how culture shapes personal experience. As an athlete who competes globally, Gauff also brings an international perspective. She has spoken before about how she is perceived differently when traveling abroad, sometimes feeling more accepted outside the United States than within it. That contrast raises uncomfortable questions about national identity and belonging. When one of America's top sports ambassadors says it's hard to exist as herself in her own country, it forces a moment of reflection that goes beyond politics. Despite the controversy, Coco Gauff remains focused on her career. She continues to train, compete, and chase championships, balancing the demands of elite sport with the emotional labor of public discourse. Her ability to do both speaks to her maturity and resilience. She has repeatedly emphasized that speaking out does not distract her from tennis. Rather, it grounds her, reminding her why she competes and who she represents. In many ways, Gauff's story reflects a shift in how athletes are perceived. They are no longer just entertainers or competitors, they are citizens, advocates, and storytellers. The public is being asked to listen not just to their victories, but to their voices. Whether one agrees with Gauff or not, her willingness to speak openly challenges the idea that comfort should be prioritized over truth. The broader impact of her comments will likely continue to unfold. Young fans, particularly young Black girls, see in Gauff someone who looks like them, succeeds like few others, and still acknowledges the struggle. That visibility matters. Representation is not just about presence, but about honesty. By articulating her experience, Gauff gives language to feelings many struggle to express. As America moves forward, conversations like this will remain essential. They are uncomfortable, emotional, and often divisive, but they are also necessary. Coco Gauff's remarks are not a final statement, but part of an ongoing dialogue about who gets to feel safe, valued, and heard. In using her platform to speak on the Trump administration and the challenges of being a Black woman in America, she has once again demonstrated that courage is not limited to the court. At the end of the day, Coco Gauff is not asking for sympathy. She is asking for understanding. She is reminding the nation that progress is not just measured in titles and trophies, but in empathy and accountability. Her words challenge listeners to move beyond defensiveness and toward reflection. And whether applauded or criticized, her voice adds something vital to the national conversation. This is Trending Update USA. I'm Steffan, and this has been a story not just about politics or sports, but about identity, truth, and the courage to speak when silence would be easier.